So the JAK Wardens came out not too long ago, and I think a lot of people have been really enjoying them. Now, multiplayer did get nerfed quite recently, just a few days ago, and in Warzone, they actually received a little bit of a buff. Now, full disclosure here, I had this video planned about a day earlier. What ended up happening is I discovered after Sim updated its site with the new numbers for the buff on the JAK Wardens, something wasn't matching up. So I had to go in and make sure I was getting things right, and it looks like there's a difference between Sim's values and what I'm getting, and it seems like there's something bugged, not quite right, but the numbers you're getting in-game are actually a little bit higher, so it's actually bugged in a way that kind of buffs the gun in a small way. So I'll share with you guys the number I'm actually getting practically in games of Plunder, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. These do look like they're bugged. When they're working intentionally, it'll be different, but I'll still share with you guys the numbers that I found. So first of all, what exactly changed in the patch notes? I'll flash them up on screen, and as you can see, there's quite a bit of changes, and they're all pretty much buffs in pretty much every way. Slugs, ball ammo got some tuning, and of course the base ammo now has a better two-shot. They did nerf the Hipfire, which I'll get into soon, but for the most part, this is a pretty good change to see, and the guns were already strong, but now they're going to be even better. Here is the previous damage profile for the gun. As you can see, of course, it was perfectly fine. 6.6 meter two-shot is really, really good. The fact that you could do 176 damage with two shots is pretty awesome, and the time to kill, of course, is a little bit generous, I feel like, because 95 is kind of hard to pull off in practical scenarios, and you're probably going to be jumping around, so it might be a little bit further than that, but it's not bad if you actually try to hit it in that certain rhythm you have to with this gun, and then it drops to a 3 and a 4 shot, and it's pretty much okay. It's just really good in that close range. Now, here is the damage profile for the current day Wardens, and these, I have to mention again, are bugged. These are not going to match up with what you see on Sim. The values are going to be a little bit different, but essentially why that's so important is because in that third range, or rather that 8.1 to 20.3 meter range, because it's bugged, you're actually dealing about 104 damage per shot, which means that if you hit two of them at the same time, that's 208, which means you can actually two-tap with this gun out to 20.3 meters. Again, this is bugged. This is completely unintentional. It has to be. And another thing to point out is that you can actually get instant kill headshots out to 8.1 meters, again, because it's bugged. Headshots in this range deal anywhere from 148 to 152. It's a little weird. Sometimes it's 150 and it gets the two-shot kill, or rather the one shot, I guess, if you want to call it that. And sometimes it's 148, so they have like 2 health left or something. But yeah, you can totally get one-shot headshots out to 8.1 meters. Again, these are bugged numbers, but it's what we're getting in game currently, so I had to share it. The actual numbers that it should be are on Sim, and as you can see, if you go look at the site, those are a lot more in line with how the gun should be, but these are definitely stronger than that. Now, of course, I do want to mention it's not super practical getting these numbers, because what ends up happening is with the spread and how it's been slightly nerfed, you're just not going to get consistent two shots out to that range. It's entirely possible with this bug and how the damage works, but it's not really going to happen in most likely case scenarios, so it doesn't really make it broken in my opinion. I mean, technically it is broken because it's not intended, it's not working as intended, but you can't really get a two-shot that far. It's just not feasible with the spread, at least anymore after it getting nerfed in this update. So pretty cool stuff, but now I want to share with you guys what happened with the other types of ammo, specifically slugs and the ball ammo. Now for slugs, they did actually buff these, which is really good to see, and here's the damage profile I was able to get, and this matches Sim, so this is actually accurate and this isn't actually bugged for this particular ammo. But slugs, as you can see, they're totally fine. They work perfectly well. You can get two-shot body shots up close and out to about basically 12 meters. As long as you hit stomach and up, you can actually two-tap someone. So that's pretty cool to see, but past that, it drops to a 3-shot. You can still like two-shot headshot, which is really cool, but these are just kind of impractical. You're probably better off using the base ammo or something like that, because they have such a slow bullet velocity. They travel so dang slow, and they're very inaccurate. You can't get a super tight spread for them. They're fun, don't get me wrong, but they're more of a gimmick, and I'm just glad to see that they actually buffed them, because I love ammo types like this, and I'm really happy to see that they actually did buff them. So that is really cool to see. So now let's talk about the ball ammo, which does seem like to me it's also slightly bugged. I don't know why, and the ranges were super weird in game. Like, it was really confusing to test this, because you get like 8 meters in and then it would do a certain damage, and then like 9 meters in it would do even less damage, and then 11 meters it was down another points of damage. It was really strange, and I've never seen that before, so I'm going to consider these bugged. But basically what's happening with these is it seems like you're able to at least two-shot with body shots out to roughly that 10 to 11 meter mark, which is really nice to see, but you do shoot fewer pellets, so you're basically getting 3 pellets per shotgun blast, so 6 pellets in total. Not super great considering the spread, although with ball ammo, the spread does get a little bit tighter, so that is cool. I found these actually kind of useful, surprisingly, and I did enjoy using them to some degree, but again, it's probably better off basically using the base ammo just because it's more consistent, more pellets, more damage overall. But hey, ball ammo does work. It is actually usable now, so that is cool to see. As for the overall best class to run this thing now, well, basically what you ran before is probably what you're going to run now. Usually it's something like the Crown Breaker Choke and one of the lasers, like that Verdant Hook laser. That's probably the better one since it doesn't actually show your visible laser, which is cool. You can also rock a sight. There are a few sights that basically help your spread, but it doesn't really matter which one you use. I think a choke is more important. For the laser, you can either use a laser or you can use a sight. It doesn't matter. The differences between them are pretty much minuscule if there's any at all, so it doesn't really matter. Now, a personal favorite class of mine is to just rock one of those lasers with a suppressor. For some reason, this works super well, and having a suppressor is just really handy in Warzone. It really helps if you're trying to be sneaky, and it helps kind of mitigate people and knowing where you are, so I feel like it's actually pretty usable, and it was fairly consistent. Even though you're not getting a super tight spread, I found it to be very consistent, and it might be because of the wider spread, you're getting a little bit more headshots in the mix or something, but it feels very nice, and I honestly found it more consistent. With the base ammo, I found myself always over swiping the target. I actually had to lower my sensitivity a little bit because I find I was like moving way too fast to actually hit my targets accurately, so that is kind of an issue. But overall, I'd say for best classes, just run a choke and a laser or maybe a suppressor and you're pretty much good to go. As for my overall thoughts on this buff, I'm pretty happy to see it. I feel like it really didn't need it, but I'm glad to see that they are kind of addressing it, and especially with slugs and ball ammo, they are trying to kind of make it work right. Slugs were unintended, they weren't doing the damage they should, but the base ammo got a nice 2-shot buff, and of course, they are bugged currently. Remember that these numbers are bugged. They will probably likely be patched at some point, but for now, you are dealing more damage than intended, which is kind of funny. It's not super broken, surprisingly. You use it, and it's not super consistent for whatever reason, but the damage is totally there. You're going to notice you can actually get ridiculous 2-shots and even 1-shot headshots if you're lucky. But once this gun is patched and they do actually revert it to where it's actually the numbers it should be and not these ones that are going over 100 worth of damage up close at like 8 meters or something, then it's going to be more in line with where it should. And I feel like it's still on paper going to be one of the better shotguns in the game, but don't get me wrong, it is still a difficult shotgun to use. And again, this is a finesse shotgun. You don't want to challenge this like it's a spammy shotgun. You basically have to have movement and use it well because it's very unforgiving, and since you can only hip fire it, it's even more unforgiving because you're not really getting that aim assist, aim down sight slowdown, so it can be very challenging if you're not used to having your sensitivity dialed in. But guys, that is pretty much going to do it for this video. Now, as always, I want to know down below in the comments, what do you think about the buffs to this gun? Are you excited that it's actually kind of bugged and working in your favor? Are you sad to see that the hipfire was nerfed? And with all that being said, guys, I will see you in the next video.